Hello everybody, and thank you for tuning in. I decided to start this year with a subject of how to make the playing easier. I call it the road to ease. We don't often think that playing the piano can actually be easy or easier. And I chose to highlight certain places in the music so that even people who don't take lessons with a Taubman teacher can benefit. What I'm going to start with today is defining and explaining where should the body be, where should the torso be when we play the piano. When we speak of an aligned and coordinated technique, the role of the body and its importance has to be included. But it's not in the way that we usually think of it. As the Taubman Approach explains, the leading roles in playing the piano are the fingers, hands, and forearm. At the same time, the forearm is connected to the upper arm, and the upper arm is connected to the body. So whereas the leading parts are the ones that lead the road, and I call them that, leaders, the other parts, the upper arm and the body, are the followers, and that's what I call them, they're leaders and followers. So when we see the whole body, everything is moving together, it doesn't mean they're all doing the same thing, they're all involved in the same way. As you will see, the following parts have a crucial role in determining where the leaders have to be. These following parts are crucial in determining whether or not the leading parts can play properly. So here are some examples. I went back to, I think it was the first example that I showed when I started the podcast, from the Children Corner, Debussy, Dr. Gradus at Parnassum. So when we sit, we are about the middle here, facing the middle of the piano. But when we go to play, if we stay in the same place and we go to play the right hand, the body's in the way. So what happens very often, the arm can't be there, so there's already tension. And also, to get to the thumb, we often twist. And this is a dangerous movement for the health of the playing apparatus. However, if the body moves a little bit to the left, it allows me to have the thumb in the right place and the other fingers as well. Now, watch here. As I go up here, the body already has moved a little bit. Stays here, but here begins to go down. So you see, starting here and very gradually moving over, following, the body is following the parts that are playing the piano. The body can't play the piano, but it's following, so it makes it possible for the leading parts to be in the right place and play properly. So this is one place. The next piece that I showed, again in terms of the in and out of shaping, was the Bach D major Prelude, Book 1. So here we're starting right in the middle, right here where the body sits and faces the midpoint, and then now watch here. So while the body is moving left and right, following the playing parts, there's also, and that's why there's a little bit more motion, there's also a little bit of an in and out. In other words, if I'm sitting here and I'm going to the piano, see, the body follows ever so slightly, otherwise I would be pulling away, the body's staying here, and the forearm can't get to be right over the fingers and support them when they play. So there is already a little bit of a forward, But then as we go into blacky area, see the body moves ever so slightly up, again. Now, I have to make sure that I explain that the amount that the body moves is very, very tiny. It's not something that I would be aware of all the time, but I would be aware when it isn't doing it. And usually people come with certain symptoms. You know, this feels tight, this doesn't feel good. So I look at the whole thing, at the whole story, what they're doing here and where is the body, because especially as we go down to the left and we go down to the right, there are those adjustments which are so crucial, but they're tiny adjustments also when we go in. So it's up to a well-trained Taubman teacher to point this out, because if, let's say, I see a twist, but I see the body is not in the right place, the first thing I will fix is not the twist, but the body. Because very often it will fix the twist. If it doesn't, then I go into actually not a twist here. So again, there are multiple areas when we play one place. When people complain, there are a lot of reasons why certain symptoms happen, and it's good to know, to diagnose the reason. In the Pathetique, the first movement, starting with the measure 51, we are right over here, and the body has to go the right amount. If we go just a little bit, the arm, the right hand is not there. It doesn't feel like the body, the forearm is behind the right hand, and it doesn't feel like it's behind the left hand. So when we do this, arm is side. Now, when I go to the right hand, look how far I have to go. And then goes back. And again, when we have the staccato leap, the body has to accompany. And again, now one of the things that are so important, the motion, the amount of motions, of any motions at the keyboard is very, very minute. And if we move too much, there's also, it's not enough and too much are two sides of not so good. So how much do we move? And especially when we play with both hands, the arm has to be behind both equally. In other words, if I go too far this way, I'm falling off and I'm not over. So the question is always, what's the intention? Where am I supposed, where does it feel right? And that's, I have to be here, not over here and not too much over there. So there is a way to feel that the body is behind both of them equally. And as you see, I'm going to the side and a little bit forward, because when we just go to the side, as we go down the keyboard, we are not quite over the hands unless the body goes a little bit in. So there is slight in and out of the body itself. We move to the side. As we go down, there's a little bit of an in, and we're always facing the music. We don't turn this way or that way. That creates a body twist. And I discovered it when some people complained about having pain here in the waist. And I've never encountered it. I knew that it doesn't come from the playing itself, but I realized that when we move from here, there's an isolation. And it creates also, when we move this way, there's a twist here. So we get something like we get in the wrist. When we twist, we get something here. So moving right from the behind all the way down, like that. Now I feel I'm behind. And when I have this staccato, the body moves ever so slightly to be behind both hands equally again. And then as I play this and it moves, body moves too. And again. And again. So my intention here is not for you to be aware every minute minute where your body is. But to kind of have the general idea that the torso doesn't just sit here all the time. That we follow the playing parts. The upper arm is moving. If the torso does move, the upper arm also stays in the wrong place, so it affects the playing. Things can be okay in the playing itself, and the body is not in the right place. And that's the crucial issue to keep in mind, that when one part is not doing its job, other parts suffer. In the same piece, started measure 101, I wanted to show you another aspect. So we're starting pretty much in front of the body, a tiny bit to the left, where we here. Now watch. So what am I doing? You see, as the arms go away from each other, the body goes a little bit forward in order to be behind both hands. So when I start here, watch it's moving a little bit in, stays in. Now, if I didn't do it, I wouldn't be in control of playing those notes. In other words, I have to be there a little bit forward to feel that, they support, the fingers get the support of the forearm. And then when I get to here, see the body moves to the right. Again, the body, so you see, the interesting thing is that when you move the right amount and you look at someone, it's just like the hands himself, you hardly see any movement, it's that subtle. So when it's organized properly, and it's just moving in the small amounts, it looks like very little motion, but it is crucial motion. It really is between being able to do something well and not being able to do it very well. So this is another example. In Rachmaninoff, Opus 32, number 12, in the last 4 measures. It starts like this. The body moves over. And then the way it's written, the body is moving even more to the right. There's a way to make it more comfortable. Sometimes, if people choose to do the way it's written, it's okay. Nothing is forced on anyone, but I'm talking about the road to ease. What makes it easier? That when we're going from here, we don't have to follow the fact that what is the right hand and what is the left hand. It will sound the same. Now, if the left hand goes to the trill in the right hand, you're already on the D sharp. So you hear, and the right hand goes to here. Now, what does it achieve? It's not so far over to the right where you feel you're almost falling off, but you're not. You can do it the way it's written. If you go over and a little bit forward, you'll still be there. But again, this is harder than this. It's right there, and then you're very close to here. Now, watch. Goes pretty high up. So this is a place to really watch that as you move into the side, you're moving a little bit forward. Now, and you see, I'm moving up because if I don't move a little bit over, it's hard to hit those fifth fingers. Of course, there are the rotational movement and walking hand and arm to go across, but the body plays a crucial role again in aiding it and moving ever so slightly. So the whole thing, uncrossing the hands and doing that, which sounds exactly the same. Rachmaninoff wrote it that way. It makes sense in terms of the composition. We just have to make it sound like that. But the hands, if they're equally comfortable, You know, it's instead of going all the way up. I don't think when I show it to people, and we do, they never realize that the right hand trill is already on D sharp, and so much easier. So in this work, when we solve problems, it always gets easier because we remove obstacles all the time. But even within that, there are still ways to make something even more comfortable. And that's the philosophy behind this whole work.